real pleasure for me as a longtime fan to be sitting here with Aaron Gray.
Here with Larry Hama.
We're talking with Kevin J. Anderson, best-selling author.
Mr. Neil Adams.
I am here with David Fritz.
Axel Alonso, editor.
Shadow Stevens. And Devil's Comic-Con with John Delancey.
With Tom Kane.
Kevin Conroy.
Free comic book day.
Denise Crosby.
PopCon Pop Expo.
Here on location at Star Wars Celebration.
Sci-Fi Expo, talking for our second time with Gil Gerard.
Wichita, Kansas at Time Eddy.
Producer David Gerald.
I've got Eric Flint.
Are here at Smallville Comic-Con.
Wizard World St. Louis.
VillageCon in Bentonville, Arkansas.
Michael Lombardi.
We were talking with Alan Dean.
Quincy Allen.
Suzanne Landon.
Of Starlog Magazine, Mr. Kerry Oakwood.
Chris Sami.
Len Lee. Dave Schwartz. Mano Intirami. Jason Aaron.
This is Sci-Fi for Me, your portal to the science fiction multiverse.
The Immortal Mask, a 1970 superhero crime noir adventure that follows a retired soldier who is given a covenant interview with a death row inmate. What he learns from the interview thrusts him into Atlanta's shadowy underworld. He'll have to utilize his military training to survive from being hunted for the information that could topple the most powerful ruling class in the city. This is not a pre-order or a crowdfunding campaign. Get your books now at denali's.com.
Not from Disney. One of one doctors recommend. A good writer. A Blackman art. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's a fucking obvious theory. They fucked around. We found out. All fun and games. Until the monkey dies. Welcome to First World.
25 seconds to curtain, folks.
Your favorite podcast is Critical Blast.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am RJ Carter, Senior Managing Editor here at CriticalBlast.com, myopic proofreader for Critical Blast Publishing, Chief Envelope Licker for Critical Blast Logistics, and I will help you with your data issues, putting my 35 years of IT experience to your benefit through Critical Blast Consulting if you are having difficulties getting through the data on those crowdfunding sites once things are done and you've got to read them and figure out who gets what. Tonight on the show, First World, second issue. And with us tonight, the man to blame for all of it, the Mr. Trigger himself. It's Doc Bishop.
Hello, everyone.
How are things going tonight, Doctor?
Oh, things are going just peachy. It was not nearly as bad of a day at work as it was the other day. I had to argue very heavily with a car in order to get it to do what I wanted it to do.
That sometimes does work.
Sometimes, yes. I just happen to speak Fiat, though, so it's okay.
I have threatened computers before with hammers, and they started working again.
Yeah, sometimes it happens. It's just I didn't realize that a Jeep turned into a Fiat in about 2016 on some models. So when you go out to expect to work on a Jeep and you end up working on a Fiat, it's not the same car.
Well, the Jeeps, they all got together and they fought for trans Fiat rights.
It's a Fiat that's wearing a Jeep trench coat.
Yeah, exactly.
It identified at a Jeep.
Yes. So we got some things happening here tonight, folks. While we're talking with Doc, we are going to be doing some giveaways live on the stream here. So the way to do that is see that link that I just posted here. I am going to now pin it like that. So it is pinned to the top of our chat. I can only pin it to the top of mine. Pops, if you want to pin it to the top of yours, you go right ahead. People can enter either one. But it's a little Rafflecopter thing. All it's going to do is going to take you to a page. There'll be a little button there to tweet. You'll just tweet out, "Hey, First World #2 is on Kickstarter," and there will be the link, and you will be automatically entered into the giveaway. And later in the show, we're going to go to the page, end the contest, say hit us random winners, and maybe it'll be you. We'll see who pops out. So
we desperately need some more followers to it. We have not gone live yet because we don't have enough people looking at it. So the more people we can get looking at it and following it, the faster we can bring it live.
Yes, and that's right. Put your wallets away tonight. We're giving you stuff, and all you've got to do is,
share the link. Tell people about it.
Yeah, and then go to Kickstarter and say, "Let me know when this goes live. I'm interested." And believe me, you're interested. This is a comic that will offend you so much you will dye your hair blue and scream at the sky. I've read the first issue. I'm in. I'm embedded now. Hook, line, and sinker. So
well, the second issue we just double down and we go so much deeper. First issue was a little small because we had to set the groundwork, but the second issue we actually have a whopping 40 pages.
Yeah, and I'll say this. The theme on the little trailer that we didn't play says, "If none of this offends you, you'll be the first." I'm going into this like, I'm good with offensive humor. I'm fine with it. Turn that page like, oh shit, they went there. So it's fun. It's fun stuff. I still laughed, but it was like, oh, is anybody watching me read this?
Yeah, you get that feeling you may have to look over your shoulder a minute. No, yeah, we really try to make it very equal opportunist offensive, and I think we did a fairly good job. I am looking for a copy of issue #2 in its editing stage. If you would like to take a look at it.
Well, of course, absolutely.
But yeah, while we are talking about this, let me just get lost in what I'm looking for. Of course.
Well,
I've got too many files.
First World is our world, but not our world, and it's how do I put it? Something happened in 2016, 2017.
The Harambe effect happened.
The Harambe effect, yes. He either got assassinated or he didn't get assassinated. We're not sure which.
May or may not.
There's a lot of people who remember him, dying in a South African prison. But it's this weird time portal effect, and the world's gone screwy. Anthropomorphic personifications of things exist now. And maybe they did before, but now we know about them. Mother Nature has a show. Aunt Sam used to be Uncle Sam before going full pre-op transgender. It's all over the place. So I don't know. I've heard the elevator pitch, but we've got people here who haven't, and I'm just sort of swinging it around like a dead cat in the elevator and banging its head against the wall. Why don't you do something a little bit neater and more surgical, Doc?
Okay.
To get people knowledgeable on this.
Absolutely got something for you. And while this downloads, we can flip over and, oh, wow, that was quick. Let me just plug this in, and then we can flip over and
technology.
Yes, there's too many buttons to press.
As my friend George says, so much clicking.
Clicking, click, click, click. Can you put the pitch up on the screen?
I can. There it is.
Perfect.
Why is it not showing? There it is. I was like,
there it is. Okay, I just sent you an email. So while I entertain with our pitch, if that's what's to come, and we can talk a little bit about that without giving too many spoilers. But First World is a satirical parody. So in short, if you enjoy things like South Park or Saturday Night Live, Monty Python, if you are aware of the Pritchett Discworld series, it pulls very, very heavily on satire and on blatant, obvious humor, and tries not to hold any punches. So we have our creator, which is myself. My name is Doc, and we have a good writer, and we have a black man artist. So Amy Good is our writer, and Antone Blackman is our artist, and they're the ones that help me bring this out of my twisted little mind onto the comic book page. Essentially, what we are hinting at is when a gorilla gets murdered, a dimensional rift opens. Then governments alliance with corporations conspire to suck humanity dry of all their resources and sanity as they vie for ultimate control. Welcome to First World. It's a practically post-apocalyptic, or maybe that's just apocalyptic, no post in sight, slightly Mad Magazine, Alice in Wonderlandy version of a dark dystopian reality that is freakily similar to ours. In a dimension not quite far enough away, some shit went down, sending us down a dark and slightly moist satirical rabbit hole. Our reality takes the shitter route when a leader of a mother-obsessed cult murders the Messiah monkey, kickstarting the Harambe effect. Did that make enough sense?
It actually does.
I really tried to condense the idea into bullet points because the attention span of some people nowadays are not what they used to be, including myself.
Yeah, it could be ripped from today's headlines, really.
So essentially, we're going to join Above Average Joe and his guests, Pope, Mr. Mouseman, Auntie Sam, and many more as they peer through this shit-stained looking glass to discover the nonstop calamities known as the Harambe effect. You see, Above Average Joe is one of our gluttony of characters that we have, and he is the narrator-ish of First World from the comfort of his podcast station that is slightly outside of reality, so he might have a purview on more of the reality bending than most. He's direct. He's inquisitive, and he's an unbiased, three-eyed monkey who questions everything. He may ask about DMT on occasion, and you may or may not see him smoking a blunt or two. Now, in the background, we have Common Sense, which is Above Average Joe's co-host. We're not going to see much of him, but we do hear from him quite a bit as he is off-panel chiming in with his logical comments and concerns. Now, you got to meet Common Sense and Above Average Joe in issue number 1. What was your first take of him? You think he works well as a narrator?
I think he does. And I definitely put a certain voice to him.
Gee, I wonder what voice that might be. I actually was impressed with it, and because he headlined so big in issue number 1, I decided to send a copy to Joe Rogan himself.
Really?
Yeah, I did actually. No, not yet. So then I sent a copy to his agent. A different cover. He's got all 3 covers. And I didn't hear back from him either, so then I sent a copy to his manager. And I still haven't heard back from anybody yet, but I hope he enjoys it. Come on.
Rogan Show. Chime in.
Yeah, absolutely. Jump on in. I will be more than happy to send you a copy of issue 2 as well.
So does it matter if I ask why Above Average Joe is slightly simian? I mean, it feels like it's important that he is.
It could be. It depends on how deep I can go down the storyline. You see, because there is definitely a heavy monkey theme if you start to pick it up and read it. And, well, monkeys aren't that much different than us. We're just monkeys in shoes, right?
I always say we're monkeys with car keys.
Yeah, you know. So I may or may not have already planned 2 subsidiary books to a companion, the First World series. And if we want to just briefly touch on those, that will answer your question. One of them is called Brat to the Future. And it's going to feature another character we see a little bit later with Papa Time and a character named Z, a Xennial generation, ambiguous character that decides to steal Papa Time's retardus and take it for a joyride through time and cause utter fuckery through time. You see, maybe it bumps into the Charger or the Challenger, and that's what caused the Challenger to explode back in the 80s.
Oh, man.
Maybe it bumps into an art studio, and that's why Hitler loses his mind and decides to start the World War. Maybe we can just take that story absolutely anywhere as like a Tom and Jerry cat and mouse storyline run through. They can be the reason that the South lost and Lee surrendered. It could be any number of things we could carry that through, just as a nice, clean history lesson, because I enjoy good history, and that's hilarious in my opinion.
Yeah, and it's the history we know. It's not an alternate history anymore. It's why things are the way they are.
You know,
And,
the butterfly effect. What happens if you go back in time and you step on a butterfly that did something at some point in time, and hashtag reasons happened, and that's why we're here today.
Yeah, and you know, Papa Time probably gets his retardus back from her a split second before she would have bumped the rifle that was going to shoot Harambe.
You know, or JFK, or Lord knows.
Yeah.
So that is one of the storyline split offs, and then the other one would directly answer the question you're asking. The name of it is Inky, Pinky, and Enlil. So
Okay.
I happen to like to study history, and religions is something I find fascinating. So if you look at the Sumerian creation religion, they think that it's essentially two brothers, Enki and Enlil, and one of them is the general and one of them is the scientist. And the scientist decided to use the primate species of the planet Earth to create a slave race called humans in order to mine gold for them to do lots of different things. And well, it may or may not tie into some very old simian characters we have in First World at a later point in time is more of an origin story.
Yeah, because we don't just have Harambe and Above Average Joe here. I mean, you the Pope.
Well, let's get a little bit further down there. We'll get to him. Yeah, okay.
Well, yeah.
So the next one goes in with we have Auntie Sam. She is the Kickstarter to this entire nonsensical world of First World. You see, Auntie Sam was the joke that I actually came up with in my head and couldn't stop laughing at until I told my friends and family, and it spawned creating other characters, which spawned First World. So it is all her fault. First World is Auntie Sam's fault.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
You see, as a hothead pre-op Uncle Sam who controls the League of Three Letters, if I need to explain that, I will, and serves the will of Pope. He also represents the Illuminati's interests in American government. So there might be kind of a League of Doom type of organization called the Illuminatis.
Did you just misgender her?
Maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm confused. I really don't know which way to go on that one.
Yeah, and the League of Three Letters, that's they're all the same guy. Just
they all look the same. They
all look the same. One is FBI, one is CIA.
Yeah, DEA, COP, IRS,
NSA.
DOT. They all kind of look the same. They can barely even tell each other apart.
And you know, they can stand in for each other too, I bet.
You know, makes it very easy to get things accomplished. And then we go into Mouse Man. Mr. Mouse Man is the head of Amuseland and a member of the Illuminati, the Illuminati Council. He is Pope's go-to bad guy and facilitates whatever is needed to further the plans of world domination. Additionally, he funds the majority of Hollywood's propaganda campaigns. Now,
yes, he does.
Mr. Mouseman is going to make his debut in issue number 2. We're going to get a lot of debuts in issue number 2. We are doubling down, like I said, and issue 1 is a 24-page book that just sets the groundwork for First World and allowed us to get a running start. Issue 2 is 3 stories wearing First World as a trench coat to convey one larger story and introduce a gluttony of characters that we all know. We just don't happen to know we know. So Mr. Mouseman is going to make his debut in issue number 2, and we'll might take a sneak peek here in just a minute at that. But No further than the Pope. The Pope
Yeah.
makes his debut in issue 1, kind
That's
of.
hard to say because I want to say it a different way.
Poopy.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know how to do the little long vowels over the O's. I've really been trying, and I just kind of gave up. So I call him Pope, and other people call him Poupe, and I've heard it all sorts of different ways. I've heard poop, I've heard Pope, and they all work. They're all the same. He's been around a while.
Especially since he's a monkey and they fling things.
You know? He's often confused with the animatronic suit that he pilots, which is the religious leader of a worldwide cult obsessed with mothers. Right?
Yes.
Because the Pope is the mastermind of the plot to split the timelines, and every evildoer answers to him as the self-imposed leader of the Illuminatis. He uses his time television, which he claims to have won from Papa Time in a bet, as a tool to twist the timelines of First World.
Yeah, and that's we can see that inside the
back of the hat there.
Yeah, the hat. I was trying to the mitre, the papal mitre.
Is that what that's called?
Yeah, it is actually.
I actually have a word for it
past,
now.
Present, and future.
Now, if I can use this as a point to illustrate the amount of conspiracy theories we are going to try to headline and is exploit a bad word?
Yeah.
First World is every possible conspiracy theory, every dark internet rumor, every random funny thought that bounces in my head randomly that I decided to twist all into this timeline or this branch of reality. Because, yeah, I think we can all agree, as of about 2016, shit just got crazy. If I would have told you 10 years ago even that we would have all been locked inside for 2 years straight and had to, I would have committed you. Nah. There's no way that would have happened.
You know what, 2010 me, in 2020, parents are going to be taking their kids to the hospital to have their genitals cut off just because the kids want to.
Yeah, exactly. No, I really never thought it would go this far. And if I don't actually laugh at it, what else are we going to do? It's absolutely hilarious. Somewhere in some timeline, they've got to be doing better than us. Unfortunately, First World timeline might happen to be doing just a little bit worse than us.
That was the premise of Larry Niven's short story, All the Myriad Ways. Was that there was this wave of suicides happening because they had discovered alternate dimensions, and once people understood that it always split whenever you made a choice, they just killed themselves in the hopes that it was making a dimension that was better for them somewhere else.
Wow. I'm going to have to pick that one up. That one's twisted. But back onto the conspiracy theories, the time television. Have you heard the conspiracy that the Vatican has what's known as a coronavisor?
I've heard something about that where they can see through time.
Yeah, supposedly somewhere in the deep, dark depths of the Vatican's libraries and archives or museum or whatever it is, they've got some sort of a television that allows you to see through time. So they're able to see the past. And I've heard that you've got to watch the crucifixion of Jesus in order to become the Pope. Whether or not that's a thing, that's all scuttlebutt. I have no.
Does he look like Mel Gibson? I mean, does he look like Jim Caviezel?
I didn't get an opportunity to ask. I ran across it on some random forum somewhere, so I don't even know the credibility of it. But it's funny, and absolutely sounds plausible. If they have a time television, imagine the crazy shit they make you watch.
Oh yeah, and especially if they can watch the future.
That may or may not be something I added in there. But hey, he makes sure that he knows exactly what button to press or what butterfly to step on, or which monkey to kill in order to get the timeline to where he wants it. And well, if you look at the dark internet rumors, it is the death of Harambe that split the timelines. This very well could be happening in another timeline somewhere, and we just would never know.
And he was very happy with it because at the end of book 1, he's like, it's all according to plan.
It all worked exactly the way he wanted it. You see, he is introduced in our post-credit scene that we have added to the comic book. If it works so good for Marvel, why won't it work for First World? So after the credits, we've got to give you a whole nother spread. I think that's going to be a thing. We're going to keep a theme going with all of our comics. Is right after the credits, you get a spread of what's to come, new character introduction, new storyline introduction, something to give you something to sink your teeth into.
I think that's a great idea. You finish the story, like, I'm done. There's the ad. Oh, wait, there's more story.
What's going to happen next? Oh, the post credit scene for issue 2 is actually got to be my favorite so far. But and the post credit scene for issue 1 was kind of cool though. Issue 2, it goes further. We happen to introduce a character just in time for the elections, the 2016 elections. That's issue 3. But we're going to get to that. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Welcome to Papa Time. Papa Time is one of my other favorites. We based a lot of storyline around him, and Papa Time is just an old guy, kind of a cross between Flavor Flav and Rip Van Winkle, which that in itself just strikes visuals that, yep, Antone nailed it for me. He is another demigod, like having limited control over time, and he relies on his red phone booth called his retardus to accurately travel through time. Unfortunately, he can't remember where he left it.
Oh no!
Or where he left his coronavisor. He may or may not have lent his coronavisor to somebody, or maybe lost it in a bet. He's been around a minute. His memory's kind of shite.
Yeah, I can imagine. So
just a little,
bet.
Maybe not. Just a little snippet of the First World introduction and some of our beautiful artwork from the rest of our talented artists we have working for us. We've got a scene intro into issue number 1. It's Welcome to First World. Charming, isn't it? Haha! It looks like shit because it is shit. And our naming conventions is something I quite like, and so I will point out. You see, this is the Major City Zoo, which is inside of Major City. Issue number 2, we're going to take a trip to Major City 2, TOO. Yeah, and we have Papa Time. We have the naming conventions are quite direct.
Yeah.
No confusions to be made, you see, but it hasn't always been this way. In fact, it used to be a wonderful, simple place to live from sea to shining sea, baby. But that wasn't enough. To just let people live their lives.
You buried the lead there.
Buried the lead.
I mean, Harambe's dead, but Harambe's not the only thing in this panel.
Oh, he is not. He is not. He is not. This is the introduction of the death snail. The death snail is another internet meme that is like 5 layers in on the memes. And if you don't know what the death snail is, it is a fascinating study and very quick to find out with a quick Google search of what is the death snail. The death snail caught up to the queen not too long ago. It's a snail that is infinitely lives forever and will eternally chase you. And you would get $1 million and become eternal. What would you do? If the snail touches you, you die.
I would watch out for snails, that's for sure.
So it sparked an entire conversation on the internet about how the creative ways we can come up with of disposing of the death snail, because you can't kill it. It's he's eternal too, or what's that word?
You just put it in a glass jar and seal it.
And just set the glass jar somewhere else.
Yeah. Like, mercury.
There was all sorts of stuff like wrap them in tungsten, drop them to the bottom of the ocean. Another guy's like, dude, pay somebody to keep them on the other side of the planet from me at all times. There was all sorts of clever solutions to it. But we had to create the death snail with all of this because of reasons. Yes, there's lots of just hashtag reasons. It's every conspiracy theory we can come up with. We're going to cram together into one book, and it is absolutely hilarious.
Have you ever, in all your conspiracy theory digging, ran across the legend of John Teeter?
I have, the time traveler. Okay. Oh yes, I am a reader and a researcher, and I love the weird and the obscure. Yes. Have we heard back from him?
Time Travel Institute.
Oh, did you?
Yes, the website, the timetravelinstitute.org.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
We haven't heard back from John Teeter yet, though. There's some people still waiting.
Well,
he just kind of vanished. Nobody knows what happened to him.
I think the timeline might have split, and we're in the one he didn't have.
you know? And he just said, "Boop, boop, yeah." Anyways, moving on.
Moving on.
But that just wasn't enough to let people live their lives as wage slaves to Big Daddy government. Oh no, the cabal had to make their move and fuck it all to hell. And now is about the time we need to go ahead and put up our trigger warnings, right?
Yes.
Because the freedom of speech is for everyone. However, every experience may differ and that of others. And we highly suggest you do a hair color strand test first, because this comic book does not constitute or replace good advice or common sense. You know, disclaimers and things. And yeah, reasons. The first four issues, the first three issues we've mapped out, and the fourth issue, there is any number of ways that we can go with that. So, in issue number 1, which is already done, has already been funded, and I have extra copies left that I am slowly getting into comic book stores, is called The Messiah Monkey. It takes place in May of 2016, and it's a nostalgic trip to the beginning of the Harambe effect as Above Average Joe talks to an anonymous whistleblower about the assassination of Harambe. It's going to take us into issue number 2, which is complete. We just are now waiting to get enough followers on our Kickstarter campaign in order to go live with it, because I've read a lot of studies that say you need at least 12 people following the campaign actively before you want to go live with it. And we currently have 5.
Yeah. So people, you know, this is it right here. Hit that link and click the button that says, "Let me know I'm following."
Issue number 2 we call The Opinionoid Crisis, because it takes place in June of 2016 at the height of the crisis, of course. And this is where Mr. Mouseman will experiment on the people of Amuseland, Throb Nightclub, and Rocktown, while Pope enlists Big Pharma input, Auntie Sam, to execute and exploit the Opinionoid Crisis. So we are going to be introducing Big Pharma, input, and another character in order to expand Above Average Joe's reach. Is we have a character by the name of Devil's Advocate.
Oh, yes. I love her. She has a great design.
Devil's Advocate has the ability to kind of pop in and out of Joe's studio and bring us a reporter on the street type of a vibe. It allows us to be less tied to Above Average Joe for a narrative, because that is kind of difficult to keep your attention on a writing. This is a better option, I felt. So this is the direction we went with it. But of course, Mr. Mouseman is the head of Amuseland, so we've got to show all of Amuseland and its involvements. And Rocktown may or may not be a stand-in for Flint, Michigan. And if I may be so brazen, Throb Nightclub may or may not be a stand-in for Pulse Nightclub.
No, it may not be.
May not.
Totally different word.
But you see, the next election, which our post-credit scene is going to definitely reference, is going to be the 2016 elections, because what is the year of a story with 2016 without touching base on the elections? This is going to take place in fall of 2016, and this is when Umtra and Hillary Vogelgate debate and fight for the presidential election, while another Umtra upsets Queen Mother by momsipating the citizens of Mother Country.
So they're like orange Oompa Loompas.
I actually have an image around here somewhere, but I can't double share screens, so we might have to circle back around on that one.
We'll see. We'll see.
And then I haven't quite made all of the details for the 4th issue yet, but there is so many more calamities in 2016 that we can deal with, like the Cubs winning the World Series after 108 years. Who has to sell their soul?
You knew that the CERN Collider had done something at that point.
The Russian DNC email hacks and leaks, the Standing Rock pipeline protest, the Zika virus, the 2016 Summer Olympics with the lie heard around the world. Come on, how many different things started happening in 2016 when the media just exploded over this? And there was a new headline every 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And it hasn't stopped since. And now it's just the narrative that they decide to go ahead and push at us. And that would be the epically apocalyptic, delightfully sarcastic indulgence we call FiRSTWORLD. That is a mouthful. It's been a
Yes,
minute since
I
I've
like
tried
it.
to say all that together.
I was trying to see if it was an acronym for something. I think, nope, it's not.
No, but let me see if I can do this seamlessly without having to trade anything. Let me jump into my illustrations page and see if I can't copy and paste
And
with what you already have
And while
shared.
you're doing that, folks, reminder that the link that's pinned at the top of the chat here on the Critical Blast channel, that is taking you to a giveaway engine. All you got to do is click the link, and it will say, "Hey, click here to tweet out the message about the Kickstarter," and it will automatically enter you into the list of people that will draw at random at the near the end of the stream here. We're going to do
And
it
you will,
live if we have people come in and join. So
yes, we're going to be giving away a digital copy of issue number 1. You can read it now. I will email it to you tonight.
So
this is our cover we have for issue number 2. We can see the beautiful in the background, but to illustrate just the full cover as a whole, it gives us a very creepy look at our new characters. We all know Pope on the big screen in the background there. We've also know Auntie Sam. But now we get to see Mr. Mouseman, Big Pharma, and Input in the background there.
I like Input's design. It looks like he's trying to be a future superhero kind of look if you were doing it in the 70s.
You know, he is the creator of social media, and he is the dictator of a place called Cold Asia-ish, right back to naming conventions. And he happens to run all social medias and social platforms, and is the creator of those. I said that, so I shouldn't probably repeat myself. Randomness. Anyways, moving on. Here is Hillary Vogelgate, one of the characters that will be debuting in issue number 3, the presidential or the 2016 elections. There's Mother Queen, who also will be making her debut in issue number 3.
Are these all Mother Queen?
Mother Queen may or may not be a reptilian. Can disguise herself. You haven't heard the conspiracy theory of the reptilians ruling the world?
I have. I mean, I have to respect the hell out of David Icke. Anybody who spends that much of their own money to prove that the Bush family is a reptilian species, go with God.
Here's Hollywood. He gets financed mainly by the Mouseman. And here's MK Ultra, the first draft of MK Ultra. He's going to be a reoccurring character starting to pop up in the background. Are you familiar with the MK Ultra?
Yeah, I'm familiar with MK Ultra. Do I need to lock the door now? We're invoking their name. I'm going to get swatted on stream here.
Well, no, he's just an old retired League of Three Letters with government secrets possibly falling out of his pockets as he peddles drugs to little children. Maybe not. Papa time, and let's speed this up so we don't look at a whole bunch of things we've already seen. Here is Umtra, that is going to be running against Hillary Vogelgate. So that the 2016 elections will be between Umtra and Hillary Vogelgate. That is going to be hilarious.
I know who wins.
I don't know. I don't know who wins in this timeline, because you see we have Umtra number 1 and Umtra number 2. They kind of unfold like paper dolls, and they might be able to multiply as they need to, start to get into politics and grab a woman by the crotch, or possibly even completely separate a nation from its roots.
You talk about writing a story where somebody else wins the election. Wow, that threw my mind back to a series that I've got somewhere. The whole series called Liberality. And it was the future where events unfolded because Al Gore won the deciding vote in Florida, and then 9/11 happened, and then Chelsea became president. Sean Hannity's broadcasting from an underground basement. He's always on the move. G. Gordon Liddy's on a motorcycle running mercenary errands. And it's like they're all underground rebel fighters.
That's hilarious. What's it called? I might need to look that one up.
Liberality.
Oh, that is incredible. I might need to look that one up.
Yeah, it's fun.
This is Devil's Advocate. She is above average Joe's street reporter that allows us to get more of a hands-on approach and an interaction with the world at large, and we do mean large. And this is Big Pharma, who is quickly becoming one of my favorites. I currently have one of my artists working on a Big Pharma cover as a variant for issue number 2. It looks like
You would look great glowing in the dark.
Ooh, I can do a glow in the dark cover, can't I?
Yes, you can.
And I may or may not be in negotiations for a cover from Ethan Van Shriver.
Oh,
yeah.
Van Shriver.
He's
that knockoff guy.
Oh, he is.
Not Ethan Van Sciver. That's the brand name.
Ethan Van Sciver. I could have butchered it. On my bad.
Okay, so that would be cool.
It would be very cool. I'm talking with him about it. It may be a 5th variant that we add.
You're so used to having to come up with other names so that nobody.
Yeah, I'm so used to butchering certain names so it doesn't get too close to anything. I'm having a hard time even in my personal life of just butchering names. Not to mention I have the attention span of a gnat and the memory of a 2-year-old. But Big Pharma is very, very quickly becoming one of my favorites. This gelatinous glob is, yeah, the perfect embodiment of Big Pharma.
And I think you can see pills swimming around in his.
Oh yeah, just kind of floating around. Yeah, that could be your hopes and dreams as he swallows all of your money.
He'd make a great squeezy toy.
Ooh, that would be cool. Yeah, a little stress toy.
Yeah.
And who else do we have here that we haven't been introduced to yet? Oh, Input. I've already described Input, but this is the detail I get from Antone as far as my concepts are concerned. He plucks it right out of my head flawlessly.
He's very Android-like.
Ooh, League of 3 letters.
Yep.
Just like we explained. Yep. And that is about all I have on that one. That is a quick overview of First World as a whole and what First World may be.
While you're digging up more stuff, if you are, folks, this is what the page you're looking for. This is the Kickstarter for First World number 2, Opinionoid Crisis. So if you see that, you're in the right spot. Just click that little green button right there. And when you do that, it's going to do this. It's going to say, yeah, look at that. We'll email you now so you can be one of the first backers. Now it's saved. So
follow. Go to First World on Kickstarter and follow. Press that little button. Clicky.
Just follow it. Just follow it. I was looking to see if it said how many people were following it. It doesn't.
No, it doesn't even. It told me. I think I might be able to find that. Let me look. Let's pull that screen up here. Let me look on my side because I can actually show you what the campaign's going to look like. Maybe you can give me some pointers.
Great.
And that is the setup of the campaign. Of course, we've got to play in the very beginning the lead-in.
Not
because I love my trailer. I had a lot of fun making that.
Did you do the mouse voice yourself, or did you find that?
I actually
find that.
I didn't. I have a voiceover artist that I fell in love with some other projects I've done. So he's kind of my go-to guy, and he can find any voice or any sound effect I ask for, and it's yeah. And that's not a logo. That's actually a font that I found. It's a Walter font that you can download off the internet. So yep. I just wanted to be very clear that this has nothing to do with the Disney Corporation.
Not at all.
But we do have to immediately follow that with a trigger warning.
Just like a Disney movie.
Yeah, because I should probably let people know what they're getting into. You see, this contains facts and opinions that others might not like. And well, yeah, trigger warnings. Do you enjoy shows like South Park, Rick and Morty, or Inside Job?
All
Have you ever
three.
seen Inside Job? Dude, I am so bummed that
Job.
got canceled. We will not get an episode or a season 3.
Oh, yeah,
I am so bummed about that. You see, me publishing this comic book has made me kind of ballsy. So I've actually even contacted the creator of Inside Job and sent her condolences on season number 3, and
Yeah.
asked her if she wanted to collab with me on this one. But I have not heard back from her yet.
Yep, it'd make a great comic book.
You know, it very well would make an incredible comic book. I think it is an absolutely hilarious show. If you all haven't seen it, then well, you should probably go check that out immediately after you click the follow button of First World, because if you like those types of shows, if you like the Saturday Night Live, if you like the Monty Python style humor, that is First World. It is the American Monty Python. I would like to hopefully claim at some point in time one day. I even took the entire pitch I went through and have recorded it, putting it on our YouTube channel. So if you're trying to tell, your friends and family about First World, or somebody at work, you can even jump on YouTube, go to my channel, First World Comics, and you can pull up that exact same pitch and get it to them out in 4 minutes and 20 seconds. Theme. Then we're going to welcome you to First World, because you see, this is the main guts, where it's going to explain everything that we've went over at the first half of the show, and show you some of the internals, jump into the Harambe effect a little bit, explain the Mandela effect, because some people I still talk to have heard of it but don't really know what it is, and so we've got a small explanation of the Mandela effect. Should we go over that, or just gloss over?
Well, it's basically the Mandela effect is what happened when somebody went back in time and they found a Mr. Berenstein coming over from Israel and changed the letters on his immigration paperwork from EIN to AIN. And it just carried the family name down, spelled that way from that point forward. For all of you people who thought it was the Berenstein Bears, yeah. Somebody actually found copies of the Berenstein Bears, or claims they have.
Or manufactured them. No, I just, like, somebody found a copy of, what is it? What is his name? Sinbad.
Yes.
The genie. What was that one? The Sinbad
Kazam.
Genie. Kazam. Somebody supposedly has a copy of that on VHS, and I've seen it on YouTube.
I've seen it too. I know it existed.
I've watched it. I might be from that timeline. Anyways, this is some of the beautiful artwork that I get from my crew. I'm pleased every time I see the art come through. It's absolutely breathtaking, from my opinion. And to feature the foil this year. So this issue, we're actually going to be doing foil copies, and
Nice.
and I'm going to need to know how many of those to order when I send this to print, because I'm fixing to send it to print anyways. I've got some Comic-Cons coming up that I'm going to have some of these issues in my hand for, so I'm going to have to go to print anyways on this. I'm just trying to give people a head start to get to it before I give it away to the general public.
And I'm looking at the billboard for First Rockstown, or the First Rocktown. Is that
First Rocktown's Pride Festival?
Okay.
Yes, I went there. Issue
Why
1
not?
just scratched the surface of how far we're going. You see, we may or may not have created Weregaze in issue 2. Yeah.
Wait.
Just let that sink in for a minute.
Weregaze. Oh. So, like, oh no, it's a full moon. Stock me up on Trojans, honey.
That's as absurd as the transitioning of the little children, or the transpires. Maybe we have to do some transpires later.
Yeah, it's 2016, so we can't touch on the whole fact that 5-7 years later, Pride festivals are like, okay, you can have it, but there can't be any kids in effect. It can't be any kids there. Oh well, then we just won't do it.
Yeah.
That
really?
was like,
wow. Oh, come on. We were very, very lenient, I think, as far as a culture and a nation. All we asked you to do is don't shove it down our throats and leave the kids alone.
Yeah.
And that was too much of a request. Just leave the kids alone.
But that's the audience we want. No, Mike, we were not talking about the Hanna-Barbera cartoon Shazam. We were talking about a movie with Sinbad playing a genie. that people
Yes.
say didn't exist.
No, but I have seen it. It was an incredible. It was good. It was a good movie. I loved it. But it didn't happen evidently, and yeah, some of those didn't happen. So I'm really starting to confuse me because I hear new ones
And
all the time, and I
yeah,
know
and of
I've
course
got a
it's called the
shitty.
Mandela effect because there are a bunch of people who believe that they remember Nelson Mandela dying in prison in South Africa, as opposed to being freed from
Becoming a
prison and moving
president.
on to become president of South
Yeah,
Africa.
I had no idea he was the president of South Africa. I actually vividly remember in 6th grade doing a report on the death of Mandela. I did like a 3-page report and had to orally present it to the class. I wish I could find that paperwork. If I was any more of a hoarder and I had, my 3rd grade book assignments,
Yep.
but I was very, very surprised to find out he died in like 2013.
Yeah, it's like he's
I'm
already
sorry,
dead.
what? He died 30 years ago. What do you mean? Anyways, this is going to take us into an overview and an outline of our characters with a little bit of a great explanation of who they are and kind of an introduction of our characters and giving a spotlight on Anton's beautiful line work. Mouse Man,
Yes.
one of my favorites.
I love parallel universes, Captain Finity. I've got this pet theory that I don't know what to do with, but basically, all those times in your life when you encountered something where you almost died, you did, and
In
your
another
consciousness
timeline.
immediately jumped parallel dimensions to the one where you didn't die, and now you're carrying forward until your ultimate death.
That's not as far-fetched as some people may think if you look deep into the dual split experiment or the
Oh my
parallel
God, that thing's a freaky
timelines.
thing.
Yeah, or what do they call it? The bubble theory. Have you heard of the bubble theory? How our universe is just a bubble of existence, and every now and then it bumps into another bubble, completely absorbing that universe, and one universe just ceases to exist.
DC Comics taught me so much about physics and quantum
String
mechanics.
theory, and we've got some very brilliant creators. Here's a picture of the first 3 covers that we have for issue number 1. And of course, if you haven't gotten a copy of First World and you would like a copy of First World, follow that campaign. You'll have an opportunity to go ahead and get a copy of issue number 1 and the add-ons as well, because we've got issue number 1s that I have no problems in reprinting if we have enough of a demand for it.
And if you absolutely can't wait, you can always go to the website and just order it direct.
Yes. The website is currently actually under construction. I am in the process of converting it to a Shopify account to make it easier and faster streamlined, because I actually had one of my friends give me a call. They were going to go on and order this pillow right here, believe it or not. They wanted to order one of these pillows, which features Auntie Sam. Great to throw onto the couch.
Yeah, nice. Just when companies coming over for special events.
And he looked at the site and he had to give me a call. He's like, "Dude, this site looks kind of sketchy. I don't know if I want to put my credit card on here." And I'm like, "Yeah, it's because I did it. I should probably pay somebody to do it and fix that." So I am in the process of having a Shopify account sunk up and loaded onto it. So folks, give me about a week. The Shopify should be live and going, and we have products. I'm actually in the process of developing a t-shirt that I'm excited for. You see, it's going to be a First World t-shirt in the style of a a concert, in the style of a concert shirt, with a list of dates that they have and locations. But instead of listing dates and locations, we're going to list how many times we've survived the end of the world. Because I'm up to about, I think, 12 different survival situations right now where this timeline is not perished in the 2012 Mayan apocalypse. We survived that one, no problem. World War III, 9/11, the beginning of World War III, we survived that one, no problems. There's tons more that, we probably should not have lived through. What about that one? Weren't we supposed to? May 16th, 2014, some pastor said that was that Jesus was going to come back. I believe was the date.
There was one in 1991, and it was like billboards all over St. Louis, and there was like a van that was driving around with like hand painted scriptures all over it. And I was working at the Air Force Base, Scott Air Force Base, and standing outside the command where I was a contractor at, which happened to be right next door to the post office. And it was the day before the big event, and I saw that van pull in the driveway and the guy going into the post office with a handful of mail, and it took every ounce of restraint I had to not ask him if those were going next day air.
Yeah, but it seems like every time we turn around, we're surviving. What was it back in the 70s? It was global cooling, and now it's global warming.
Yep. Now they went with climate change. It could go either way. Whatever way it's going, that's
the climate's just going to change, and that's bad.
Yeah,
Doesn't it change 4 times a year?
I thought so, but then apparently words don't mean what we think they mean. The climate and weather aren't the same thing. Yeah, they are. Well, climate is just like the average of weather.
It's an attack on language, in my opinion. It's using the law of names against us. It's like sex and gender are not the same thing anymore. Since fucking when? Like since when? Are you kidding? But anyways, I digress, and I'm going to step firmly off my soapbox because some people might not like my opinions, and we don't need to. We will plaster them in comic form.
The more we expand the definition of a word, the more we dilute its real meaning.
Exactly.
Where it can mean anything.
Well, like let's take a simple word like love. The word love, we have one of those in our language. You can love your wife. You can love your friend. You can love your job. You can love your wife.
Yes.
The Romans in the Greek language, they have like 5 different words for love.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the context of the word. How far do we have to split our language down before it collapses? Just a thought.
You got to tear it down to make it in your own image.
First World issue number 2 is complete and ready to print with your help and your backing. It just needs people to read it. I just need people that might find this funny and might want to get in on something I hope is going to take off.
That cover is fucking awesome.
Dude, this is a beautiful cover.
I love that minimalist cover.
So did I. Antone brought this to me, and my jaw just dropped. I'm like, oh my God, I love it. Change nothing. Absolutely nothing. I love the cover.
Jeez.
And yes, his white suit just may disappear in with the background. That is, yes, absolutely one of my favorites. I have 2 more covers being worked on that we're not ready to release yet, but I should have those up on here by the time we go live. I'm expecting them by the end of the week. Here are some interior samples of the first issue. A few of the pages inside of issue number 1. And of course, I'm going to spoil issue number 1 post-credit scene because I am in love with this panel. This panel was actually featured on iFunny all the way up until I tried to put it up in color. And then in color, this panel is too offensive. In black and white, it was not a problem.
Okay.
Black and white, there has been 178,000 people seen this on iFunny. And all of them seen this on iFunny. I think there were like 10,000 of them even liked it by pushing the button. So yeah, I had to kind of throw that up there and give it away. This is the introduction of Pope inside of First World as he is having his suit detailed, we will say.
Yes. Which may or may not look like a manicure and a pedicure.
You've got to take care of it, right?
Yeah.
My granddaddy said, always take care of your feet. So you got to make sure the feet are taken care of. And, he may or may not be wearing the yarmulke talking to Auntie Sam.
Yes.
Discussing First World.
He's got a skull cap on.
And then we're going to give you another opportunity to watch one of our little scroll by videos and see a few more of them. I don't think it's big enough to actually try to play it on here. Do you?
We could try.
Let's see how it looks. Yeah, let's. Love that Auntie Sam whipping a piece of candy out of her titty. Just here, good, look good.
Yeah,
Oh,
I was
oh,
muted there. Yeah, and I I love the contrast between the two versions of what people saw when Harambe was shot. And what Harambe did and how he talked. Yes, Harambe talked.
Our monkeys talk. They all talk. We've had monkeys talking. We've got the Joe Rogan monkey talking. Oops, the above average Joe monkey talking. We have the Pope monkey talking. We have the Harambe monkey talking. Now, it does highlight a perspective issue. You see, I was always taught growing up that, there's always three sides to every story. There's your side, there's my side, and there's what actually happened. You'll never see all three sides. You can only see two of them, which is my side and your side. So we doubled down on the perspective of issue number one.
Well, there's one panel from issue number 2, which I have here, and I'm going to switch over. I'm not going to show you folks the edit and process of number 2 here, but the fact that that Mr. Mouse is here, you got to be wondering, who comes with Mr. Mouse, and if my mouse, the little roly ball one here, will cooperate, I will show you some of the people who come with Mr. Mouse, and they're going to leave here and go order a cheeseburger royale or whatever it is.
Heavy parody references on pop culture, on great stories, on incredible talent. Yes, I love my parodies. I am a huge parody fan, so why not use it in art? Yes, those are my favorites. They are Mr. Mouseman's henchmen, and they
Do
are.
they have names?
Not really, no. No, you don't see a whole lot of them. They're having a conversation with the mayor of Rocktown about how his water supply is in danger. And
yep, nice water supply you got here. Be a shame if something happened to it.
Yeah, can you scroll up one panel. I want to highlight the phone. This is one of the creative additions that my artist decided to add to First World, and I loved it. This is the phone Mouseman is threatening the mayor of Rocktown on. I had one of those in the 80s.
Oh, who didn't? I had one in the 60s.
Oh, I had a whole bunch of hand-me-down toys.
In fact, I untangled the rope from around my son's neck in his playpen. I'm like, yeah, this is a 2-piece toy now, because I'm like, scared the shit out of me when I saw that.
Yes, but I thought that was an incredible add-on that our artist decided to put in here, and it was that absolutely plays with the comedy level and the satirical nature we have going into First World.
Yeah, I mean, he couldn't very well use the Mickey phone. That's Mr. Mouse wouldn't do that.
No, he would never do that. No, this has nothing to do with Disney. Why would?
Yeah, it'd be too on the nose.
But childish games for childish things.
Exactly. So, do you have an idea in mind of when you want to launch?
Yes, I would like to have it launched before Memorial Day. So I think I'm going to draw my line in the sand. I'm going to be meeting with my project manager tomorrow night, and we're going to be discussing the next 3 months worth of scheduling, because we have 2 cons coming up. On July 7th through the 9th, we are actually got a booth at the Knoxville Fanboy Expo. So we will be in Knoxville Fanboy on the July 7th through the 9th. And I will also be in Tampa at the Toy Expo there on, I believe it's the 27th through the 31st of July. So I would like to have the campaign in full force by the time I'm going to the cons.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, Bentonville Con is coming up next month, so that's too soon for you to get to.
Yeah, it's a little bit short notice, especially with the 2 cons immediately after that one. So I'm going to go ahead and take the rest of May and June to really push issue number 2 out as far as I can. And I'm really thinking about having Ethan possibly do a cover for me and add that as a extra tier level of the campaign.
I'm not even going to ask what you're wanting to draw.
I've got some ideas, but I really think he needs to draw Anti-Sam. I really think I need to see his version of Anti-Sam. That's having something to do with that. Maybe an homage cover to the Killing Joke with Anti-Sam.
Okay.
Cool.
I can see it.
But that also might be a waste of talent for something like him to do an homage cover. So I don't know. I haven't quite decided. This is a rather new conversation that was started.
Well, good luck with that. I want to see it.
I'm real interested. I might be too far to issue number 2 for that. I might not be. We'll see how many followers we get. We'll see how much time I have.
Folks, I just want to impress on you again. I have read the first issue of this thing. It is good. It is funny. It is everything that you want when you say you want freedom of speech.
Almost demanding it, like our First Amendment allows us to.
It's a moral obligation, is what it is. It's a moral obligation to get this book to support free speech. So
it is absolutely the support of the free speech platform. It is the definition of Comicsgate in a comic book cover, in my opinion. Just the sheer definition of it. Here's
Doc, I was going to say we're over the top of the hour here, but if you've got something that you want to still continue showing here, go.
No, I was just rambling, showing you the campaign setup, like a new character we have, Handy Sook. Don't you pea-brains get it? It's the lies that keep this whole dog and pony show going. If the news is actually news, everyone would wake up.
And he's got a tinfoil hat on.
Yep. And all of our various tiers that we have put together for it. No, if we are done, we can go ahead and wrap this up. I greatly appreciate you having me on so I can ramble about my comic book. I'm having a lot of fun in the creation process and the bringing it to the head.
You've got a lot of good feedback from the first issues. I've seen people talking about it. Captain Finney wants to know: do you have a commitment to that cover yet from?
I have not. I don't have a commitment from him yet. We're still talking about it. We've at least spoken about it, and I know how much it's going to cost me and how long it's going to take ish. But we haven't went too far to detail of it because of reasons. It's yeah. We're going to.
You may want to get him to do a cover for like issue number 7 because that's like 3 years out. I'm sorry, just Ethan. It's a joke that's never going to die. You'll just have to live with it. Anyway, Doc, thank you again so much for coming on tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on.
Pleasure to enter FiRSTWORLD and walk around a while.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Everybody in the chat, thank you guys for being here tonight. We don't have a show without you. So we're always glad you're here. And as always, while you were here, we just hope you had a blast. Good night.